Today's December 26, 2022. The parking at downtown is free. I was watching this NBC documentation on these two individuals who um, may or may not be the individuals who stole 113,000 bitcoins. And apparently the um, the the FBI is on their tracks, and they have court documents, and they are in a legal situation at this point. And apparently they have a bunch of web content, just like myself. The difference between them and myself is that I'm a law-abiding citizen who goes to church, and therefore I should have nothing to worry about. So life goes on. So today's Monday. It's a market holiday, and so I slept in today, did my laundry. I went to a laundry facility after waking up from my 9x9 room. Um, I used to be a chain smoker many, many years ago. And whenever I walk by, it's amazing to me, people still smoke cigarettes. And having lived in that world, it's extraordinarily uh, um, I would say it's a hard habit to break. If anybody who wants to, in the future, maybe 10 years down the road, and this YouTube video is still available, and somebody's still chain smoking, one of the ways is to one of the ways to stop is to buy a cigarette called American Spirit. Apparently, it is the way that I remember it is very thickly packed, such that when you puff on it, it's incredibly difficult to inhale the smoke. And so eventually it leads myself to quit smoking. Smoking is not good. So I sent a text message to my trading buddy who's in North Carolina. He's an up and right a law-abiding citizen, and he works for a reputable company. He has a family. I asked him, "Hey, are you ready for tomorrow?" He says, "Nope." So his trading system is a little bit different than mine, and mine is definitely evolving, and thank God. And I was like, after I woke up, I had this craving for some rice. So I went to a buffet, and I got there. I had my laundry in the dryer, and isn't it wonderful that on my YouTube channel I'm talking about doing laundry? So I set the dryer to 48 minutes, approximately about $2. And I told the worker there, the attendant, his name is Jack. He knows me. And I told him, "Hey, I'm gonna step out. I have my laundry for 40 minutes, and I'll be back." And he says, "Okay, I'll see you then," he said. An old man who's been there for a while. So I drove to Fairview Avenue, a fair ways down there. It's a good thing it's about 31 to 32 degrees. And the pavement was wet instead of being icy. Just a couple of days ago, it was like 18 to 19 degrees. And if I wanted to stop, it would have taken about 230 feet from where I put the brakes on, because it's skidding time. So I had I had 3 plates, and I had this craving for some rice, fried rice. So I had some fried rice. It was good. It was really good, and I was so full. And and um, now they have this little chip reader, RFID chip reader. So I just put my wallet on top of it and paid for my lunch, and then came back and picked up my clothes out of the dryer, and uh, and I had this sudden urge to use the restroom. Maybe I ate too much, and when I went in there, there weren't any paper. So I told Jack, "Hey Jack, the restroom is out of paper." He says, "Again?" And then he goes into his office, and apparently in the public stalls, it's the roll is about this big, but this thin, right? Thinness is the same, but it's this big. And he walks in and grabs this much, because I think what they do is because people use it too much in the laundry facility, that he dispenses them frugally. So, but I did not use it. I came to the office, uh, folded my laundry, and came to the office, and here I am. And I watched that Bitcoin incident, apparently. So, and the reality is now, if I were to talk to anybody, a professional day trader, I would think that they concur. They concur that the focus point of day trading now is to expand upon stock selection, always work on stop loss, and always work on maximizing net gains. I believe those are the 3 primary means for uh, solidifying myself as a day trader, as I move in that direction. I see it as like broom, a broom, or a mop. See, the mop on one end is full of lint and strings that are clumped together. It is supposed to be able to be rugged enough to scrub against the floor and is able to absorb liquid. That's what its main function is. Then the handle, whereupon it is clasped at one end to the mop uh, fiber side, and then there's the handle. So essentially, it looks like what day trading essentially does is essentially is shaped like a mop. Because you know why I selected mop and brooms? Because when I'm a dishwasher right now as my bread and butter. So I use the broom whenever I have time. Aside from, um, boy, I ate a lot of food today. I'm sluggish. I'll probably burn it off by running around at work today. I gotta go to work. I gotta wash dishes in about 2 hours. So essentially, I've come to the point where now I'm expanding upon those 3 things. Those 3 things. And one of the things is stock selection. And stock selection is based on the criteria, based on the setups. And it has an immense uh, relativity. It is related to the boy, am I full. Oh, I could take a nap, but I gotta work. Go to work in about an hour. So it's hard to talk when you're full. Oh, anyway. Uh, so so the reality is trading. It seems to be like initially, if I were to lift up the mop and look from bottom up, and I would see the mop head, it would be fibrous because all sorts of avenues are coming in, and I'm looking up, and each one of them seems to be disconnected from uh, the main purpose of day trading. And every channel has its own meaning. There's no connections whatsoever. But after spending an enormous amount of time, I climb little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit, and then I get to the portion where it's being where the mop handle connects with the mop head. And then I begin to realize that connection is essentially these three things. These three things, which is essentially um, stock selection, okay, which is related to the setups, bag of setups, however many I have. Some people have like at any given moment they have like 40 or 50 of them that their mind is constantly working on, and so it's like a pattern recognition. So they have these like 40 things that are floating in their mind, and they peruse through each stock and look at the charts and look at the formations, look at the data, and they match them up. It's like it's like those monitoring camera monitor system where it has facial recognition systems. So the stock market is very similar to that. There is a software that takes the image and processes it and says, oh, this is such and such setup. So I'm looking at myself here, and if I were to recognize there's a unique characteristics that are particularly a particular setup for me. Look, the bald head, the glasses, and the 5 o'clock shadow, and raspy voice, full belly, the same shirt that I wore yesterday. So that is the characteristics, and out of those bag of tricks, and within that bag of tricks, there's a name assigned to it. It's called Key So. If it's not, and if it's somebody else, then the trend that I wish to establish is incorrect and needs to be adjusted. But however, in this case, the trend is, my thesis is correct. The facial recognition system has correctly identified the trend and correctly identified the name of that trend, which is Key So. Where in this office, I also use the name Chris. Now, that is something that is going to be worked on each and every day. So I need to expand upon that particular single setup to create a wide breadth and depth of so many different possibilities that I can, even within that one setup, if I get in too early, then that can negate it because it could be incorrect and it'll keep going. That's called the front side. Because whenever, for instance, when I'm talking about a dip and rip, I'm talking about a stock that does this, and when it looks like when it blips up a little bit, and I'm thinking incorrectly, okay, that's it, that's where the reversion occurs, and I get in. Then what that will do is, if I am incorrect, it'll keep going down, and when it keeps going down, then the thesis is incorrect, and it will cause my account to deplete. It'll suffer a drawdown. And when I have miscalculated, it could keep going down and essentially eradicate my account. So in order to avoid that situation, I need to make sure the stock selection is correct and timing is set up correctly such that I suffer the least amount of drawdowns. Apparently one of the S&P Capital professional day traders, they suffered a $50 drawdown in making $1 million. Essentially, the trader made $1 million in a single trade, but the drawdown was $50, virtually none. That is incredible. Okay, so essentially, those are the things that I need to focus on now that I have essentially, when I'm like underneath at the footsteps of Mount Everest and in the shadows, I look up. It's the first hill seems to be the highest point because my perspective is so diminished from where my perspective is. That's just like looking at a mop. And as I merge those three concepts together and form into a good trade, I realized that molding those things together essentially is an elevator climbing up and up and up, and and increasing my capability of making profits in day trading. So essentially, it mimics at the point where those 3 points collide and meet. It creates a structure called the mop handle, and it guides me into prosperity, profitability, consistently profitable day trader. That's the path. The Essentially, if somebody asked me, hey, what does day trading look like? I'll say mop.